Good morning, Bande Matram. Welcome all of you. The topic to be discussed right now on the Om, the spiritual force. So, topic will be discussed on Om, the spiritual force. First of all, we have to take a brief discussion, brief look at spiritual force. What really this force is. Many type of forces we have discussed so far, and at the apex we have seen a supramental force. So while discussing supramental force, before that we must have the opportunity, and it is needful also, to know really what is the spiritual force. And Sri Aurobindo explains nicely. It is and all I can do is to send you the force that, if received, would help you to change your condition. That is spiritual force. Change your condition. Is it what I have always done? It is what I have always done. Send the spiritual force. But it can't act effectively, or at least not at once, if the doors are shut against it. Condition is there. Somebody asks a question, somebody puts a question before Sri Aurobindo. He has got some problems, initial problems, maybe unavoidable and unexceedable for him. He is asking some help. Sri Aurobindo puts, if you want, I can send you some force. If received properly, it will be helpful. If received, would help you to change your condition. You have got your problem, you have your conditions. If I will be able to, if I can send the force, I am ready to send, but if you receive it, it will change your conditions. It is what. Then if you don't receive, then it is up to you. If the doors are open, it will come and work in you. That is a great help for you. But it can't act effectively, and at least not at once, if the doors are shut against it. If our doors are open, it is not shut against the spiritual scent which I am sending for you to change your condition, then it may not act immediately or at once. For this spiritual to act immediately, effectively, and at once, the doors must not be shut against the force I am sending. It must be received, it must be open. That is what. And again, Sri Aurobindo goes forward. The outward touch is helpful, but the inward is still more helpful when one is accustomed to receive it with a certain consciousness. Outward touch, most of the time we go, even while mother was there physically, they went for the outward external touch. It is there, you have got the touch, that the touch has transcended you. You have got the bright link. Maybe for one reason or another you went for the direct touch. It is also there. Right now you can get but the subtle touch. But for the outward touch, most of the people kept moving, taking assignments, and went and made the mother to have the outward touch. It is helpful, no doubt of it. Mother Sri Aurobindo also clarifies. The outward touch is helpful, but more helpful is inward touch. Still more helpful inward touch when one is accustomed to receive it with a certain consciousness. Outward touch, you can see somebody, there is a touch, it is touching, mother is touching, and you are getting the touch. But most of the time, people around me, sitting before me, listening the discourse, debate, and speaking about the mother's grace and the protection, mother's meeting, that darshan, they have got the touch. This is outward touch. May not be even that in that consciousness. This outer touch is helpful, but still more helpful is the inward touch. One is accustomed to receive it with certain consciousness. To that consciousness, someone has to go. Otherwise, how it will help? Inward touch, it is not. It is subtle. It is not visible. It is not outward, it is not external. You have to feel it. For that feeling, there must be certain consciousness, and the outward touch is not always fully possible also. Not fully possible. Take it for the example I will give you. Suppose somebody feels the mother is not physically present in Pondicherry, in her room. So how can I get the outward touch? Lord is also not also there. The master is not also there. If I keep asking a question, simply this ashram people will send a message. Or if it is some Odia department somewhere, you are asking the some question, thinking he knows something. He will write something like quoting a message, and he will seek that mother's blessing will help you. That also you may rely. You may not have the confidence to rely on it. It is happening most of the time. That's what Sri in the course. It is not fully possible also. Always fully possible. Even if that time also, all the people who were going, they did not have the direct, fully direct touch for one reason or another. It was not also permissible. And the outward touch is not always fully possible, while the inward can be there all the time. The only thing is that you have to aspire, you must have faith, you must aspire, you must have the willingness, you must have the opening, you must aspire for it. That is what the requirement. If that is you are reaching at that consciousness, definitely you will be able to receive it. There is no doubt of it. There is no doubt of it. Then Sri Aurobindo quotes, certainly, my force is not limited to ashram or its conditions. I can give the example. When Pavitrada was driving and the mother was sitting, actually they went to a far distance, maybe the protecting area of 20 kilometers radius that they exceeded, and this vehicle got some problem. Mother tried. That vehicle was stopped. Then mother tried her spiritual force, occult force, but it could not work properly. Then she asked for the divine, for the master's force. This Dada was asking, what happened? 10 nautical miles beyond that, Sri Aurobindo's force will come, work. Beyond, mother told within 10 nautical miles, means some 18 plus, little bit exceeding 18 kilometers. You can't breathe but me. That is what the requirement. You can't breathe but me within 10 nautical miles. It is something around 18 kilometers, little bit ahead, exceeding little bit of 18 kilometers. Within that radius, you can't breathe but me. But this distance was exceeded. So mother quotes, Sri Aurobindo quotes, mother expected that this supreme force of Sri Aurobindo should act, and immediately the vehicle started. That's what Sri Aurobindo wants to clarify here. Certainly, my force is not limited to ashram and its conditions. My force is not limited to the ashram or its condition. As you know, it is being largely used for helping the right development of the war. War is not happening in the inside India also. Far, far, far distant land. And of change in human world. War and change in the human world. You change in human world, you can't explain, you can't expect. It is within the this present global periphery. It is exceeding like anything. Right development of the war and the change of human world. It is also used for individual purposes outside the scope of ashram. Don't feel that people have to come for my help. As per their condition, everyone has to come to Pondicherry and to get help from me, because my help is not confined to Pondicherry and its condition. Scope of the ashram and the practice of yoga, they may be expecting. Means I will tell you, it is not limited to ashram and its conditions. It is there for helping the right development of war and the change of the human world, for the individual purpose and for the practice of yoga also. But that, of course, is silently done and mainly by a spiritual action. by a spiritual action. It is not the satellite, no, it is going and setting the PSL, some something rocket is been taking and that you are in the space, you are orbiting the some this thing in the orbit, satellite in the orbit. That is not like this. It is a spiritual force. So in the course, this is the spiritual force. You don't know. It is not visible to the naked eye. You must have the feeling. The ashram, however, remains at the center of the work. Center of work. If it is there, if you are there, definitely you are helped, you are benefited, no doubt of it. And without the practice of yoga, the work does not exist. Without it is the center of work. Do you feel that every Pondicherrian are getting the help properly? Remains at the center of work, and without the practice of yoga, the work does not exist and could not have any meaning or fruition. So practice of yoga is absolutely necessary to feel. How can you feel that the subtle things, occultism, the spiritual force? For the ordinary people, conscious people, everything is something like a daydream. Like they are dreaming. They don't know what exactly it is and how it works really. For that actually you have to practice your yoga. It's a better thing Sri Aurobindo has quoted here. It is not limited to the ashram and its condition. This works in the right development of the world and the change in human conditions, human world. It is used for the individual purposes and for the purposes of practicing yoga. Maybe, definitely, you have to learn that ashram is the center, and somebody who is practicing this yoga silently done mainly by a spiritual action, silently done by a spiritual action, they can assume, they can get the impulse, they can get the touch. But finally you have to find ashram is the center of work, and without the practice of yoga, work would not exist and could not have meaning or fruition. It is not very advisable to discuss either to myself or to the ashram or spiritual things with hostile minds. Hostile minds, nothing to discuss, not advisable to discuss either myself or the ashram or spiritual things to hostile minds or unbelievers. Don't discuss, they won't believe. They won't believe. Though don't waste your time. It is not to discuss the things with hostile minds and unbelievers. These discussions usually brings on sadhaka a stress of opposing atmosphere. Normally the tendency is to opposing atmosphere, and can't be helpful to his progress. So always remain to be silent. Don't try to discuss. There is no meaning at all. You are here for the sadhana. So don't go and meet with the opposing forces, hostile forces, and discuss with them. So the discussion usually brings the sadhaka stress of opposing atmosphere and can't be helpful for the progress. Either it is a retired stage progress. Reserve the best attitude, and one need not be concerned to dispel their bad will or their ignorance. Not necessary. It is not your work. You should not do. And coming to the point, Om, the sound of the word itself cleanses the environment around a person and gives a positive vibration. Cleanses the atmosphere and gives a positive vibration. The mantra with the word Om, it has the power to purify one's aura. Purify one's aura, that is second. Third, chanting Om mantra can automatically place a person in a meditational state which offers deep relaxation. Meditational states and brings deep relaxation. When someone chants the universal hymn of Om, their concentration capacity automatically, naturally increases. A regular chanting of Om mantra removes the toxins from one's body. while chanting Om. A typical sound is created by the vocal cords, which benefit the thyroid glands and the throat. And finally, it has also proven to have cardiovascular benefits due to its relaxing qualities. It decreases the blood pressure and helps to the heart to beat with regular rhythms. Whatever I have read, Sri Aurobindo has quoted Om, the great ascending word. Whatever I have read Om, they are also spiritual forces. They are having relaxing capacity, curing capacity. They are panacea. These are all scientific truths experimented by various scientists throughout the ages. But definitely it is they are not from the mother and Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo quotes the Om, the great ascending what. This spiritual force is required for the sadhana, and will expect for the spiritual force of Mother and Sri Aurobindo for the progress of this sadhana. Thank you. Vande Mataram.